Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Classic Comics. Today I'm reviewing Heroes Reborn number 2. So, from what I've been able to gather, and I'll be spoiling this a little bit because apparently Marvel themselves have already revealed this, so I don't mind putting it out there. Now, apparently they're doing this storyline where I guess I'm not reading it, so I only know what I've heard. But apparently they're doing a story where a bunch of superheroes are fighting each other to see who gets to be possessed by the Phoenix Force, and fight to see who gets to be the Phoenix, which sounds totally stupid to me. I've seen some images, and they've got characters like Howard the Duck and Man-Thing becoming the Phoenix. Because now everyone gets to be Phoenix, apparently. You know, you get the Phoenix Force, you get the Phoenix Force, you get the Phoenix Force. Everyone here in the studio today gets the Phoenix Force. So one of the things that has really grown to bug me about current Marvel is how they keep doing stories where everyone gets to be a version of a certain character. Everyone gets to be a Hulk. Everyone gets to be Thor. Everyone gets to be the Phoenix. Everyone gets the Infinity Gems. So they've really gone to certain wells too many times. This is especially unfortunate with the Phoenix. The Phoenix used to be so enigmatic. It was mysterious. And it was so powerful, it was difficult to even comprehend it. And it didn't really seem to think or reason. It was kind of like a force of nature. But over time, they kept making it more and more like a person, more and more like an individual, until it just kind of drained all the mystery and grandeur from it and made it seem almost mundane. It's just another mantle that can be passed around from one character to another. I mean, Howard the Duck, for crying out loud. You know, who's going to get the Phoenix Force next? Forbush Man? So, speaking of characters that were once majestic and mysterious and unknowable and unstoppable, there's Galactus. So, once upon a time, Galactus was pretty much the most dangerous entity in the Marvel Universe. And he only appeared in the Fantastic Four. He didn't appear anywhere else because he was a Fantastic Four enemy. He didn't appear in Avengers or X-Men or anywhere else, only in Fantastic Four. And he would appear, you know, once every few years, like every 4 or 5 years, he'd appear for an issue or two. And usually the story would not involve the Fantastic Four defeating him. They would manage to frustrate his plans, or more likely what would happen is his appearance would be incidental. They wouldn't even really fight him because instead he would be at odds with some other entity, and the Fantastic Four would get caught in the middle. Galactus would win, and then he would move on, and the FF would basically just go home and be glad that they came through it all alive, or that Earth wasn't destroyed. But that isn't the Marvel Universe we have now. Now Galactus, the devourer of worlds, the terror of the universe, he's become a jobber. He's the guy that the writers bring in just so that he can be defeated and show the reader how awesome another character is. A while back there was a story where Thor fights Galactus. It takes place in the future. And Thor has become Odin, basically. He's got the Odin power now, I think. And he fights Galactus solo, just one-on-one. And he straight up beats him. He kills Galactus all by himself. I mean, that is just BS. There's no way Thor should be able to beat Galactus all by himself. Which brings us to this issue. So it starts with Galactus appearing on Earth. And we get this narration from Hyperion about how he was sent to Earth as a child by his birth parents because Galactus consumed his homeworld. And then we get this. Galactus killed in one blow. First of all, is this really even necessary, having him plow through Galactus's brain like this? But I mean, he shouldn't be able to do this. And I mean, I just don't get it with all this blood. I never thought of Galactus as being really flesh and blood like a person. You know, it's not like he's just a big human being. He's this cosmic entity. I always figured he was some sort of energy, cosmic energy force or something like that. Galactus killed in one blow in an offhand manner, like he's one of those low-grade, nobody villains that Scourge was hunting down and killing back in the 80s. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is one of the problems with Marvel now. There's no editorial control. The inmates are running the asylum. And the people who run Marvel now have no regard for the history of these characters. And that's how stuff like this, or the Phoenix Tournament, or the frickin' Hellfire Gala, or whatever it's called, gets published. Okay, I totally lost track of what I was talking about. So, apparently at the end of the Phoenix Tournament, and again, Marvel has already spoiled this. It's already out there, so I'm going to talk about it. But if you don't want to be spoiled, you should bail out now and watch this later, maybe after you've found out about what happened. So, at the end of the Phoenix Tournament, the character that wins and gets the Phoenix Force is going to do a Scarlet Witch number and change history, so that the Squadron Supreme are the main heroes and all the regular Marvel heroes are altered or don't exist. So, I mean, yeah, it's Age of Apocalypse, House of M, that all over again. Anyway, getting back to this issue, it really left a sour taste in my mouth after this. Hyperion is a grade school teacher, history teacher in his secret identity. So we see him grading papers, and one of his students has written a paper about Captain America. And he gives her a C+ because Cap is considered to be just a myth in this reality. Then he gets a hypersonic message from Reed Richards. And in this reality, Reed Richards is a scientist who works for S.H.I.E.L.D. And Ben Grimm works for S.H.I.E.L.D. too. So Hyperion responds, and Reed tells him that all the villains that Hyperion has imprisoned in the negative zone over the years have all escaped. So Hyperion has to round them all up, and we see him fighting the Imperial Guard, who have been taken over by the Brood. The story of how that happened was told in another issue, Hyperion and the Imperial Guard. I'll do a review of that one later. And then he fights the Beyonder. But this version of the Beyonder is obviously kind of a takeoff on Mr. Mxyzptlk from DC, the Superman villain. He's more kind of a mischievous imp, and he can warp reality any way he wants. Now, as they're fighting, Beyonder creates these winged sharks, and they keep screaming that the whole world is a lie. And Hyperion finds himself troubled by these claims that the world around him is fraudulent in some way. But he doesn't understand why. As he says, it troubles me more than it should. Then we see Peter Parker. Now, in this reality, Peter, he's kind of like Jimmy Olsen to Hyperion's Superman. And he's constantly getting into trouble, and Hyperion has to come save him. He saves Peter from a bunch of alien arachnids. And then after that, he fights Ultron, who's gigantic here. And then he goes back to his school because the Hulk has shown up at his school and is in his classroom. And then he fights the Hulk. And the Hulk is talking kind of like Bizarro. He's saying things that are like the opposite of what he means. And he seems to be saying the same things, that the world isn't right, the world isn't true. And then they fight, and Hyperion winds up deciding he's just going to have to kill Hulk. And he kills the Hulk way too easily again. He has more trouble with Hulk than he did with Galactus. But as the Hulk dies, he says, "Steve, where is Steve?" And that kind of stays with Hyperion. So later he's teaching his class again. And then he comes across that paper that the girl had written about Captain America earlier, and he notices in it that Steve is the real name of Captain America, Steve Rogers. At least that's what I intuit. They don't really make it that clear. So he digs up some old files about Captain America and finds out where Captain America was supposed to have gone down in the Arctic. He goes there to search, and he doesn't find Cap, but he does find this place in the ice where it looks like something recently, very recently, has been removed from the ice. And then he flies to the sun to think and kind of contemplate what's happening. And he's clearly troubled and is beginning to doubt that the reality around him is real. But he resolves that this is his home and his reality, and he's going to defend it whether it's real or not. Now, there is a backup story here. And the art in here, the first one, the art is by Dale Keown and Scott Hanna with other inkers. Jason Aaron is writing. But the backup story, the art is by Ed McGuinness again, who did the first issue. And again, he's teaching his history class, and then he notices this guy just sort of lingering right outside his classroom. So he's like, "Excuse me, students, I need to check on something." So then he changes to Hyperion and confronts the man in the hoodie here. And of course wants to know, why are you hanging around the school? What are you doing here? And the guy just says that he's a homeless veteran and he's just passing through, something like that. And then they shake hands, and when they shake hands, it hurts Hyperion's hand. And he suddenly feels very weak, and he's like, "Who is this guy? What is going on?" And he wants to ask this guy more questions, but then something swoops in and carries him off. And it turns out it's Blade. And, of course, the guy in the hoodie is Captain America, who Blade retrieved from the ice. And Captain America, or Steve, he agrees with Blade that reality is wrong or isn't the way it's supposed to be for some reason, which honestly to me makes no sense at all. He's been frozen in the ice for 75 years. He's just woken up. What frame of reference does he have to say that that reality is right or not? He doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. So why does he feel this way? So obviously he feels this way because, well, the plot really can't move forward unless he does. So he does anyway, which seems like really kind of contrived writing to me. And on the final page here, Blade says, "You should probably sit down, Cap, and I'll tell you everything. Everything that's been stolen, I'll tell you about the Avengers." And Cap says, "Don't tell me, Blade, show me, 'cause you and me got work to do." Okay, that does not sound like something that Captain America would say. That doesn't sound like Cap to me. It sounds way too modern, too contemporary for Cap to be saying it. All characters should not be speaking with the same voice, especially if their background gives them a good reason not to. People in the 30s and 40s didn't talk like this. They didn't talk the way we talk today. So why does Steve sound just like anybody else? I really enjoyed the first issue of this, but man, this second issue really took the wind out of my sails where this event is concerned. I've never been a particular fan of Jason Aaron's writing. It was really McGuinness's art that sold the first issue for me. Without that art for most of this book, and with the nerfing of Galactus, and Cap talking like he really shouldn't be talking, not talking like someone who just woke up after being frozen for 75 years, I'm really kind of pissed off by this issue. So, yeah, overall, this issue is very, very disappointing. Thumbs down on this one. When did Galactus become a jobber? I mean, when did that happen? I mean, a character who's just set up so he can be knocked down to validate other characters. Let me know in the comments, and please hit the like before you leave. Also, please sub to the channel and hit the bell for notifications, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching.